Let's get right into our futures provided by Bar Chart. We're going to do these one at a time with the help of Brian Hoops with Midwest Market Solutions. All right, first of all, it's this corn market that reversed direction and now is putting on a game. December corn up 2.5 or 19.5. That's on the high of the session so far. March is up 2.25. May is up 2 cents. So quite a reversal here, Brian. A little bit of a surprise. And there are some of us saying that this is related to a forecast.
Yeah, good morning, John. I think a couple things going on in these grain markets, turning higher in soybeans and in corn this morning. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that the forecasts are for Argentina still very concerning. There was some rains over the weekend in Brazil, but that Argentina weather forecast is a real concern for the trade. It's going to be very warm and very dry. I think we are losing yield potential there for both corn and soybeans as the planting pace is caught up to more of a normal pattern here. And then, of course, you have a very good inspections number out today for soybeans. They came in at almost 90 million bushels. And then you've got Thursday supply and demand report coming out as well. And that should be a little bit of a supportive feature. Ending stocks expected to tighten up not only here in the United States for both corn and soybeans, but also globally. We're going to see a little tightening there because of production shortfall in possibly Brazil and also in Argentina.
January soybeans now up 4.25 cents on that reversal. March up 5.5. The May up 6. I want to go over here and talk just a little bit about the wheat market as well, because we've gained quite a bit here too, with March Chicago wheat now up 2 cents, 577.5. But March Kansas City wheat is steady at 542 3/4, and many of those contracts are still lower. Minneapolis wheat for March down 1, but the September is up 1/4. So isn't it interesting that Chicago wheat kind of followed the trend here?
Yeah, it did follow a little bit. We had that kind of a down day on Friday, but now we're turning back higher here to start the week after some early follow-through selling. You and I were talking off air. It's going to be very warm in the plains this week, some 60-degree temperatures, and as well as some lack of rain here. And it's not helping that wheat crop out as we go into dormancy to have it green and needing a little bit of moisture and not have it.
And some of that wheat certainly is. It has gotten some moisture, but not enough to keep it out of trouble. Over here in the cotton market, and I do want to quote this here just a minute before we get to the livestock. We've got the March cotton up 67 now. Again, another big jump here, 72.24. So many of these markets really turning around a little bit. Some of the outside markets have played a little bit of an influence, but not so the Dow today. We're still down 114 points at 30,084. Well, I'll tell you what, Brian, hang on here for just a moment. I want to come back and spend a little bit of time over here in the livestock trade and get your thoughts there and talk maybe about a gap on the chart that we need to pay attention to. We'll do that next here on the Market Day Report. Back here with Brian Hoops. Brian, first of all, let's stop over here at this live cattle market. And the reason I want to bring this up is because we've got a gap on the charts over here around 111 on the February contract. We're at 111.67. We're down 72. What do we do with this gap?
I think the market wants to go try and fill it, John. We're not that far away. We came close this morning, and we may go down and get it yet. Today is also first notice day for December live cattle futures, and I don't expect we're going to see any deliveries against the December cattle futures tonight. So usually we get into the delivery period, we can then start to see December contract try and rally a little bit, and that could help out this cattle market that I think is looking for some good news. The cutouts were down hard on Friday. The cash trade was disappointing last week, and it looks like we could see some lower cash trade again this week.
Well, and sometimes we hear the old cliche, the feeders are the leaders, and they did lead us out. Well, they tried on Friday to pull this old cattle market to the higher side, but it failed in doing in at least bringing the live cattle back to the positive side. But we've got January feeders down $1.12 at 138.65, March down 95, April down 87. How much of this downside pressure do you think now is coming from this corn market that kind of flip-flopped?
Well, yeah, part of that is also the corn market here. With it flipping like that and turning higher, going to pressure the feeder cattle to an extent. But that feeder cattle market has had kind of a breakout on the charts and seems to be trying to retrace a little bit of a pullback over the last several trading sessions. And partially is due to the cash trade last week turning lower and the cutouts turning lower as well.
Have you heard any ideas what anybody's thinking about cash cattle trade this week?
Well, yeah, you haven't seen any bids or offers yet from anyone. We are hearing ideas are that cash trade could trade another dollar lower after some 110 trade. In fact, we did hear a little bit of bids in Texas at 108 this morning. Those were passed pretty quickly.
Somebody was telling me that the feeder auctions out in the country, like Joplin, some of those areas, some of those feeder markets were still pretty strong. So let's see what happens. I do want to see what's going on over here in the hogs and get your thoughts there as well. February down 87 at 65.70, April down 77, May down 20. Weakness here too as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That December contract has to align to the index in about another week or so, and the cash trade has been moving lower, pulling the index down. And so that's just been a drag against the entire hog complex here. We see a lot of losses in December, February. They're about the same price, kind of already aligned up with that index, which is moving softer as the cash trade turns lower.
Well, and you make a good point about those cutouts. You were talking about some of the beef cutouts and pork cutouts. We're going to have USDA is updating that here in just a little bit, and we'll have the latest information right here on the Market Day Report. And Brian, it's always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you very much. Hope you have a good afternoon. Brian Hoops here with us, and back to you, Tammy.